Greetings to all, I'm Austin Anderson, and let us begin with our presentation assignment task 2B, which is about Article 2. Before I start, let me introduce my fellow team members to you all, which is Zhenshun and Wenshun. To start with, let us look into analyzing broader industry that innovates robotaxis. To look into it more further, first of all, we can look into the technology sector, which is in usage of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, data analytics, and cloud computing, followed by creating on software and cybersecurity development. Robotaxis are essential high technology, therefore the mobile computer requires continue their innovation from technology industry. There is artificial intelligence in use to make real-life decision making, object recognition, and improvising vehicle performance through experience. There is data analytics and cloud computing in use to process and analyze the massive amount of data that has been collected through vehicle sensoring helps to enhance safety and efficiency. Then the cloud computing is basically to process, storage, fleet management, and deploy software updates that can lead to critical or ordinary off vehicle. There is cybersecurity and software development, as I mentioned earlier, to protect vehicle potential cyber threat, which is crucial to public safety and trust gaining, opening the creating software or system that applies done everything such as autonomous driving software and booking platform in car environment. For the second point, we can look into the automotive industry, vehicle manufacturing and electrification, hardware and components. So basically, traditional automotive component involved in keep pace with robotaxi innovation, focusing on key hardware manufacturing aspect. Vehicle manufacturing is basically legacy that they keep up to sustain. Automakers obtain the general motors used involved in designing and building in vehicle. Electrification that ensure making innovation close likely to develop of enhanced to be advanced in battery technology and charging infrastructure. Hardware and component is basically the robotaxis themselves rely on sophisticated components including sensors like LiDAR and radar, as well as a powerful processing method. On the third point, we can look into the transportation and mobility industry, which relies on ride-hailing and logistics and fleet, followed by the fleet management. So basically, the ride-hailing and logistics sector are being reshaped by the new business processing method and model that robotaxi enable to. Ride-hailing is a company that, like for example, Bme and Cruise operates fleet and compete with existing human driving service with companies like Uber and Lyft, and followed by the logistic. The technology overlap the autonomous logistic and long-haul trucking with aims to create efficiency and reduce costs. Fleet management to shift individual car ownership to shared on-demand service requires innovation in how fleet management maintain, be managed and operates. For the last point, it will be infrastructure and urban planning, which followed by the government rules and regulation and urban infrastructure. So basically, the local or the government or the national government creates and adapt themselves for the rules and regulation for autonomous vehicle to ensure safety and allows commercial deployment. The urban infrastructure is basically innovation that are needed for real-time traffic management, developing high efficiency and map for navigation and adapt cities for support charging station and optimize pickup and drop-off zone. To conclude with, by integrating all these factors and points, robotaxis are basically the art of technology paradigm shift that redefining the urban mobility. Thank you.
Today, I'll be talking about the main innovation of Waymo, which is process innovation. Process innovation is about changing how a product or service is delivered in order to reach multiple goals, like improving efficiency, lowering costs, and creating a better customer experience. Waymo's self-driving taxi service at San Jose International Airport is a great example of this. Instead of following the traditional taxi model, Waymo uses autonomous driving technology, things like LiDAR, radar, cameras, and artificial intelligence to provide driverless rides. These systems work together to detect the environment and allow the vehicles to safely operate in busy and complex areas, such as terminals and pickup zones. This process innovation delivers several benefits. First, it increases efficiency and safety. By reducing reliance on human drivers, Waymo helps solve driver shortages, lower labor costs, and eliminates common human errors such as fatigue or distracted driving. This directly improves road safety. The impact is clear from the data. According to The Verge, in June 2024, injury-causing accidents with Waymo taxi were 74% lower than with human-driven taxis. Police recorded collision dropped by 46%, and Waymo's own numbers show that airbag deployments were reduced by 84%. These results highlight the safety advantage of self-driving technology. Compared to traditional airport transport options like taxis and buses, which depend entirely on human drivers, Waymo brings fundamental changes. The service can operate on demand, 24/7 without worrying about staffing issues or rising labor costs. It's also more flexible. For example, during major events like the 2026 World Cup or the Super Bowl, when demand spikes, Waymo can scale up instantly without hiring thousands of temporary drivers. In short, Waymo's process innovation doesn't just replace drivers with technology. It transforms the entire model of airport transportation by combining efficiency, cost saving, and safety. It sets a new standard for the future of mobility. I'll share about Waymo's strategies to make its robotaxi service successful at San Jose Airport. Waymo mainly focuses on two strategies: timing and marketing. First, timing. Waymo plans to launch in fall 2025. This is smart because it is just before two huge events, the 2026 World Cup and the Super Bowl. These events will bring massive traffic and higher demand for transport. By launching earlier, Waymo can test the service under normal conditions, fix problems, and then be ready for the big events. It's similar to how cities improve transport before the Olympics. If Waymo works well during these events, it will strongly prove its technology is reliable. Second, marketing. Waymo uses a step-by-step approach. At first, their employees test the taxis. Later, it slowly opens to the public. This helps to build trust and reduce risk. If problems are found, they can be fixed early, avoiding bad publicity. This is different from Cruise, a competitor that launched too fast and faced many issues. Waymo's slow and careful approach acts as a marketing tool itself. It shows people that Waymo values safety, which is very important for public acceptance. In short, by choosing the right timing and using a careful marketing strategy, Waymo increases its chances of success. It prepares for high demand during big events and builds customer trust step by step.
On this slide, I will talk about the operational benefits of global expansion. First, going global means more countries, more customers, and higher sales. For example, when McDonald's opens stores in Asia and Africa, It reaches millions of new people and make more money worldwide. Second, expansion reduces risk. If one country's economy is weak, the company can still earn from other countries. Third, producing on a large scale lowers cost per unit and increases the profit. For example, Tesla builds big factories in different countries. This large production lowers the cost and lets Tesla sell its car at a good price while still earning profit. Now let's move to the strategy benefits of innovation. First, innovation keeps products strong for a longer time. Second, being the first to run autonomous taxi at airports gives Waymo a big advantage. Third, it improves the brand and makes it more premium in the market. Also, global innovation brings more market share. For example, Tesla's Model Y becomes the best-selling electric car in the world in early 2025. In just the first 3 months, it sold over 200,000 units. This shows how innovation, like better batteries and large-scale production, can quickly turn into big sales worldwide. If Waymo starts airport autonomous taxi around the world, it can also get a large share of the transport market, just like Tesla did with EVs. Finally, let's look at the intellectual property and market protection. First, patents make Waymo's technology unique and stop copying from other companies. Second, patents allows franchising and licensing, which bring extra money. For example, Tesla owns more than 4,000 patents worldwide, and about 3,000 are still active. These patents are used by companies like Intel, Samsung, and Qualcomm. This shows Tesla's strong power in technology. Patents also make it harder for rivals to compete and give a long-term stable income. For Waymo, global autonomous taxi could also be protected by patents for safety system, AI software, and sensors. Waymo could license these patents to airlines, airports, and government, which means more income and stronger market position. Now let's move to how Waymo can attract young people to use its robo-taxis. First, I suggest starting a TikTok and AR Ride With Me challenge. This lets young people like Gen Z and the millennials make short videos about their ride in Waymo robo-taxis. They can use AR effects, such as route maps or safety signs, and share what they think about self-driving. Waymo can make it fun by reposting the best video on its official page. Second, why does this work? Because Gen Z spends a lot of time on social media. For example, almost 90% use Instagram, more than 80% use YouTube, and over 80% are on TikTok. They like to share and connect with friends. AR filters or challenges are very popular and can spread fast. This makes more people know about Waymo and trust it. When young people see their friends enjoying it, they also want to try. Finally, this plan also gives more value. Waymo can collect feedback, like which AR effect users like, what they feel about the rides, and which places they are interested in, compared with normal ads. This costs less but spreads more. Interactive content builds trust, and social sharing makes people more confident in Waymo's robo-taxi. In short, this strategy is fun, simple, and good way to attract young people to use Waymo robo-taxi. That's all for our Article 2 presentation. Thank you for listening.